It could be early Tuesday morning. Depends on where you are. How you feeling? Good to see you today. Anyway, we're gonna get into some football because it is Monday at the week 11. Got one more game tonight. Do we really want to talk about that Raiders Cowboys game? I don't think we really do. Because if you're a fan of those two teams, I feel sorry for you. You need some medication if you feel those are your teams, you really in trouble because they both stink. But we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about when I get this thing set a proper latte. We know we're gonna talk about. Let's see if I get the thing set up. Get my thing set up real good. Get this thing done. We're gonna get into this thing real quickly. Gotta set up everything real quickly. Okay. All right, I'm back now. I had to take care of a couple things. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just sending out things as usual. Give me just a second. I accidentally hit a wrong number. Oh God. Anyway, I got more stuff coming through, so hold up. All right, I am back now. We are live now, so we are talking now. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yeah, I just sent you a message. I accidentally hit your number up, but it's all good though. We are live. So we are talking today. It is Monday. Not much. How you living? How you doing? Good to see you. People who watch the Monday Night Football game, watch the game, got a lot to say about if they gonna make the playoffs or not. Archie, okay, but you going under the name Lindsay, but okay, Archie. What's happening, TSP? Thank you for coming through. Good to see TSP. Thank you, thank you. TSP's in the house. Oh, come on now. You got to talk to me now. We got to talk some football. I don't want no vulgarity on here, so you guys to go. You can't come on here talking like that. That's a no no. Um, Good question, Charlene. Depends on what your criteria. Oh, well, Eric B and Rakim going for the win. I mean, Rakim's one of the greatest. Kid and Play never made a classic album, so that's a no brainer for me. And by the way, I don't really tend to do a lot of hip hop except for when I talk about acting. I have never done a hip hop take on music in none of the future videos I got, but um, I might do a hip hop battle. I never thought about Eric B and Rakim against, you know, that's a different one. We might make you might break the ice. They do, they do, and that's so unfair to Kid and Play because Kid and Play is kind of like with Fresh Prince of Bel Air and Will Smith and them, and that's kind of hard to put those two because there is an interesting contrast. And the thing about it is, this is the thing. If I was going party songs, Eric B and Rakim got them beat because they had James Brown. If I go conscious songs, it's no contest. I like Kid and Play, but they don't match up. That's not a good look for them. I'll do a future video. Anyway, TSP, what's up? What's up? So, what you think about my poll question? I know you got some thoughts on it. What you think about the poll question? It's a legit question. Because will Kansas City just not make the playoffs? That's a big question. I don't, and I'm gonna tell you something. Um, I like Mob Deep a lot. Daz and Corrupt is like one of the best duets that just they should have been better. So I will say Mob Deep is definitely gonna Daz and Corrupt to start Mob Deep off the bench. Cam Capone and Noriega gotta go. It's interesting that you asked that because you'd have to almost know my hip hop head. You got that right. You say that louder for the back row? They done like the NBA. They got more ways to get you in than baseball does too. But I'm gonna tell you something. Mahomes, if Mahomes can pull them to the Super Bowl this year, oh, he's the GOAT, period. He is Ali if they go all the way. Because but the thing is they're not that bad. They just can't seem to do like they did last year. They can't win them close games. They're losing all the close games, you know. And they really are in it. They really aren't that far off. But how does Denver keep winning? That's amazing. Because Bo Nixon got to be the luckiest, lucky rabbit's foot shoe quarterback I've seen. I'm looking at Denver like, I don't even know. What's happening? How you doing, MK? Yeah, they do let you in. I think they'll get in. I think they'll get in. Oh, he can have huge games. He can have huge games. They just don't have enough depth. They just can't finish up close. That's their problem. But he can go off. Well, then again, the Chargers are choking, so they got spanked so bad by Jacksonville that that'll probably get them in. And they beat them, that'd be in. Um, for me, it's 3-6 Mafia. The Amigos more for their production, but I don't think they had the long run. But 3-6 Mafia definitely made an impact. If I had to pick out those two, I may or may not do these. Yeah, Mahomes, and I mean, think about it. The guy done been out of 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, so it's not like he really has to do anything else in his career. I mean, he's got 3 chips. He's been to 5 Super Bowls. I mean, isn't it multiple league MVP, multiple Super Bowl MVP? Depends on who you're with. Depends on how you feel. You know, if you spiritually feel connected, do it. Don't do it unless y'all not together spiritually. I'll tell you that right now. Something I would tell you. If you're doing it for any other reasons, then you're in problem. The problem is what he really needs is Tyreek Hill back. And Tyreek might be up for auction right about now. They're missing a jump on defense, I think. Nelly. That's not hard. Now, Luda had what I call catchier anthems, but Nelly sold a chunk of records. Nelly had catchy anthems, and he brought in the Saint Lunatics. I think he had more of an impact. I think he had more of an impact because Hot and Her, he was huge, and then he did with the Tim McGraw. He had with duet with Jaheim, and then he hit with McGraw. I mean, Nelly was big. I remember because I used to work in this temp agency, and this chick broke her neck to go catch Nelly at the when he was coming out of the Luda was big. Luda took it to movies now. He had the bigger what he did in the bigger picture. Sure did. And a band-aid over his face. And that's why Nelly goes on about the rant about how he came in the most competitive era. And to me, he was always like a double Junior Whopper LL Cool J for his generation. The difference is that he didn't stick it out. He had catchy songs and then he kind of faded. And don't lie. Don't lie. Get Your Eagle On was our midnight theme, swiping credit cards. How many of you watched that late night video when Nelly did that? This ain't no kind of battle, Charlene. What you got, a broke R. Kelly and a broke Michael Jackson? Two broke hacks? How about neither, Charlene? Neither one of them. Trey got the voice I like better. Weekend got the couple songs I like better, but you put the two together and I don't want that sandwich. Sorry. Can I take a can I take a pass on both of them? Because I just can't do it. Trey supposed to have had the second coming of R. Kelly. He never had the first coming of Trey songs because he had a mini run and then he faded. And where in the whack end? Ah. Oh well, so I'll share this with you. I'll share this with you. I have a friend of mine. I appreciate what you're saying. A friend of mine who knows the managers personally said the manager thought it was good. Gave it the green light. I think that what they're gonna do is concentrate on the artistry aspect of it. Obviously, I can tell by the clips they're gonna, keep it as the focal point and talk about his growth as a musical artist. And so I think that that is gonna appreciate what you said. Um, I would take it serious. I mean, his impact is still felt to this day. I mean, the cat just became the first artist with 6 decades of a top 10 hit. Thriller came back. Think about what you got out here today. They're telling you every day that uh, Drake does all these streams and Beyonce is big and Taylor Swift's all big and you don't these most of these acts is 40 months. We're talking 40 years. Let that sink in. Cultural phenomenon. So for me, yes, I'm looking forward to how it's done. His nephew put the work in. Jafar is a good singer. He's got good talent, you know. So thank you. I appreciate that. I will look forward to it because Jafar is a talented young man. And it ain't easy. It is your uncle. That's some big shoes to fill. So to pull that off, you know. Think people in part, there are people who grew up on it, people who love Michael, and also the people who know there ain't nothing out here today. There really is nothing out here today to get excited about. Not like that. Shoot, if I can show you something from a 40, 50-year-old clip, that's when Off the Wall came out, it's like 45 years old. And the Motown 25 was like over 40 years old. So if I can get you excited off of that in a minute, oh, because it tells me everything I need to know. Shows me how lame the industry is, and which it is. It really is. You don't have any, you don't have those kind of acts. Look, I like Bruno Mars a whole lot. Usher, I like it. It's one of them you gotta almost have been there to understand it, and then to been there to understand it, you still are spell how to explain it because talent like that just hits so differently. That's just with anything, you know. So I don't know what this means, and I'm not gonna dignify no trash. So if you can't talk in English, you're gonna have to go coming in here talking some stuff I don't know. But anyway, that's my take about it. I think it's gonna be a really, you know, put it to you like this. There are things about Michael that I've figured out on my own. He was very shrewd. He wasn't docile. If you know how cold that business is, you don't last as long as he did being docile and soft, because they will squash you like a cockroach. And you know, David Chappelle in a blowout. What career for Eddie Griffin's had successful TV shows and some stand up. He ain't hit the culture like Chappelle. That you're asking who's a bigger it's Chappelle in a blowout. Eddie Griffin is an ashy third tier comedian. I'm not even a big Chappelle fan, and that's a blowout. Twice on Monday and next Thursday. It's not even close. Because Eddie Griffin doesn't have an iconic moment to match Chappelle. I mean, if unless you use the Michael Jackson on crack routine he did on Def Comedy, and that was years ago. And he's had a couple moments here and there, but he's not on the same wavelength. I like some of his corny movies like Irish Jam and all that. Chappelle is bigger. Chappelle is bigger. But that's a good question. I will use that. Because no one ever mentions Eddie Griffin. You're the first person to mention Eddie Griffin. It might be the only one too. Not even anybody in his family. And after the way he sat there and tap danced for Trump, no. And then how he was to Malcolm Jamal Warner, no. He's one of those cats that, he did make a quote though that is timeless. Though I will give him that. He said, no black man goes unscathed in the entertainment industry without something." So I will give him that. My MVP power rankings into this week. Are we talking NBA? Yeah, they have. I give cosign. Except I got Cade over Wimby, and I'll tell you why. Detroit's better. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly if De'Aaron Fox gets it together, but that's a big if. They need another piece. I watched the Spurs. I got a chance. I sat. They need another piece. They missing some bench balance. They get some defense. They can if they can figure out how to get half court with him, they'd be dangerous. Cade is benefiting from he could be in that SGA next type of situation because it's the Halliburton SGA situation. Um, Cat, even though I don't find him particularly funny, Mike Epps is corny, but Cat's got more cultural relevance. Cat's got more cultural relevance. Epps is one of those guys that does everything, but he's had some quotes that I like, but Cat's more relevant though. If Cat had some skills as far as pulling off a big film, he'd get like more roles. But the problem with Cat is that he's kind of like, you know, he's kind of limited. Both these cats is limited. It's just that Cat connects with certain things he says, but both of them are limited though. Because if you can roll them both together, you might have a very good comedian. Cat's got takes that are hot, and he does his antics, which work. Epps has moments, but he don't put it together. This is probably the most what I call half-hearted era of comedy. It's kind of like watching basketball players or athletes that's got a piece here and the other one's got a piece there, and if you put it together, you might get a piece, but it still ain't full the way it's supposed to be. It's kind of like if I took Baker Mayfield and who could I pick on? It's kind of like if I took Justin Field or Tua. If I took Tua and Baker Mayfield, and I might make it into a part. Or if I talk basketball, who do I feel like that about in basketball? I gotta think about that. It's always like took the Rosen. If I took the DeMar DeRozan and Blake Griffin, I'd have one scary dude. Eddie Murphy. That's not even that close. I know you're gonna throw the Oscar at me in the music career. No, Eddie has six career. It's Eddie Murphy, big overall. I will use that as a question, but it's Eddie because Eddie was more groundbreaking. People still talk. Jamie Foxx, aside from Ray, Jamie ain't never really. He's big, but he's for the generation looking at it from stats, but looking at it from what impact, it's Eddie. And Jamie would tell you that too. He ain't hit it. He ain't come close to Eddie. He should have though. He should have been bigger. He should have been bigger. Shoot, after Ray, he should have had the thing by the tail. I saw some of it, and basically what I heard from a cat that saw it. It was pretty much a fluff piece. I seen all the stuff. Now I will tell you. Oh, so Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, you're funny. Just kidding, just kidding. Two different types of players though. But Bobby Orr was a bad dude though. Gretzky benefited, or was bad. Um, his girlfriend Lisa from 40 years ago, he was engaged to Lisa Figueroa, was probably the most honest Eddie was in a relationship. That's the part that I missed about that. He really was in more season with Lisa Figueroa. She's almost disappeared off the planet. But that was his most honest, if you want my honest opinion about it. He had to come up with something on Netflix. They've been bringing up them whack movies. I saw that whack movie with Pete Davidson. That was horrible. And then the one with Jordan Hill. That was horrible. I mean, he be making movies. He put anything out. Oh yeah, when I have slow days and I have to watch some movies, they come on and I'm sitting there like, and I'm thinking, what happened, Eddie? What happened, Eddie? What happened, Eddie? Because for every Bowfinger that I liked or Boomerang that I like, you get stuck with these corny movies that, and then Beverly Hills Cop 4 was atrocious. I'm like, man. So, good question. Got to give it to Cosby. But that's a great question. Because he had more cultural impact. I watch Fox more for humor and all that. And Fox was bad with it with TV because that's still my favorite all time TV show. But Cosby's impact was bigger, and he had a bigger brand with the movies too. I did like Cotton Comes to Harlem, but and I Red Fox I like, but to me they both are my Mount Rushmore of comedians. They're my top tier. But I gave it to Cosby though. Cosby was a way of life, yo. He really was. You know, that's a good question though. That's a good question. In fact, with comedy debates, you can go a lot with those because especially if you take historical people. But Cosby, he's arguably top 3 or 4. If you just like I said, because if you understand the impact, So all right, what we got here? 50-50 about Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. Interesting. I think they get in, but now when they get in, they could be dangerous if they figure it out. But they gotta figure out how to get some stops though. They gotta beat the Chargers. Mm, so we'll see. We will see. I knew Kansas City would be problematic this year though when they lost that game to Philadelphia because that to me was the one that they didn't get their revenge game and they lost at home. And they can't seem to finish out the close games. If they could finish out the close games, this team would be Super Bowl bound. They're not that far off. Strange as it sounds, because Andy Reid can coach and Mahomes, but you know Bernie Mac. Come on, now. Come on. I like Cedric, but he look. Bernie could just show those teeth and make you laugh. And I like Cedric too, but he ain't seeing Bernie Mac. A lot of people ain't seeing Bernie Mac. Bernie had a gift. Sometimes you just see people and they just got the goods. So Kevin Hart. Because I mean, with Hewley, he'll at least have something that I think is okay. He's cornball. They both third tier to me, but Kevin Hart is just an annoying little runt that got lucky, got hooked up. I give him his props for his success. He's crazily successful, but I didn't watch the stand up and I didn't really get it. I just thought he was dingy. He make faces and but as far as actual talent, the best acting job he ever did was when he was trying to kiss up because the Oscars was going to whiteball his butt because he said something about Starburst crew. That's the only time that I saw him, showcase some acting skills because he was scared they're going to just, you know. Other than that, not much. No. They both overrated and corny, but a DL I'll give a little bit of a nod to. But that's not saying much though, because I find them both overrated and cornballs. Martin Lawrence in a blowout. Because again, let me tell you why. More cultural impact. Martin's show alone is towers over anything. Ain't funnier. Talk to the hand. Come on now. Chris Rock got some good one-liners, but Martin Lawrence got a come on. That to me is not. Martin could have been bigger too before all the stuff that fell out too. And let me tell you a story. To the other reason why he got it over him, he was TV funny, stage funny, and movie funny. Chris Rock did not translate well to the big screen. So you don't make it to the big screen. You know. Jim Carrey. Will has got that humor that is smart alecky type, but Carrey is more natural with it. They try to make Will to be a cool, suave, or vulnerable. You know, it's okay humor, but Jim Carrey's actually a funnier dude, though. And personally, I think he got more range than Will does on the screen because Will ain't really gone. Aside from when he did King and a few other roles, he's charismatic. Groom cat, but Carrey had more going for him. I'm just saying beyond. Because if Will Smith had the goods, Denzel, he would have given Denzel more of a run. The Ronettes, because of the whole Phil Spector connection. It's like mob style. And I like the Shirelles, but, you know, Ronnie Spector alone, because of that whole situation, you know, that just was bigger. It's an interesting question, but you switched up. But yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so good question, though. Anyway, yeah, what was about the Kansas City thing? I think people are kind of split. I think people are kind of split. They really don't know how that could go. Uh, it could go either way. Who do you think music influence supremes? That's a great question. I don't know because there would be some local acts and gospel, but I don't know. I really don't know because there were no female groups before them. I don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't know who they inspired on the females that came after them because most of the female acts tended to either veer away from what the Supremes did. They were in all of Donna Ross, but I can't say there was a direct correlation. So that's a great question. I mean, they were always kind of like a female version of the Temptations, minus, having five singers that could sing out, they'd sing the lights out of a song. But that's a good question. I don't know. I have to look that up. I have to do some research on that one. That's a great question. Yeah, because she's from Detroit and she didn't get signed by Motown, which is one of the most strangest things ever. She was a different type of style, and she was channeling Sam Cooke and Ray Charles. The Supremes were channeling what's those sisters, those white women? I can't think of their names, but they were more. It's a different aesthetic. It was a different hit. You know, I can't think of those sisters, but it's a different aesthetic. It would have made it. The Supremes were important. Don't get it twisted, and they had crossover. But the way Aretha was done, remember, uh, RESPCT came out before Love Child, so you wonder who inspired who. When she did songs like "Think," that not to the level of pop acceptance to be able to hybrid the styles without him. So let me break them down one by one. Madonna, obviously, black music was huge, and she obviously understood the template of Michael because when you're talking about connecting with teenagers and young adults, and also the R&B pop rock thing, that's the Michael Jackson school right there. So they both were inspired and influenced by him a great deal. Big. Um, a white woman in the industry is gonna always, regardless if she acknowledges who it was. Prince, more so, I would say, definitely needed Michael. There was that whole angle about crossing over in the marketing, but they both did though. I thought about Bill Romanowski. When a black man does it to another black man, that's showing he thinks he's lower than, and he's a sellout. And that's what a lot of stuff is about to me. Um, First of all, you need to spit on the fact that your season sucks. Your quarterback can't stay healthy. Your team is underachieved, and uh, it's embarrassing. Um, and then you think about saliva, and you think about that there's still a certain viruses still out here, etc. I'm not gonna go into the details because you understand. You know that. Robbie Alamar's thing was ridiculous and embarrassing. Nothing justifies doing some stuff like that. Besides, there's some woman out there who mess with both of them and say, "You wouldn't put your saliva near me," but I'm just, hey, it writes itself. If you do stupid stuff, you're gonna get stupid. You tripping? Proven? What has Joe Flacco done? They lost games. What's happening? How you doing, CK? What you talking about? Overrated? Uh, Joe Flacco is done. They got smashed 34-12. Burrow can play. What you talking about? LSU was legit. He won a national title. No, first of all, that head coach they got is overrated. They need to fire that turkey because they always started slow. If you want to get at Burrow for being so, but I'm gonna say it like this: they don't play no defense. They don't play like a. They don't even play like a team. No, if they had Burrows was the dude before Jalen Hurts got going. Before Jalen Hurts got going, who was getting Tom Brady? Who got in? Who got in Mahomes' way? Burrow did. I like Burrow. I think he's got a bad coach. I'm gonna tell you something. You give Burrow a head coach like Harbaugh, you'd understand why I like Burrow. He got the wrong head coach. See, one of the things I talk about all the time is what? Just like the problem I have with what I look at Josh Allen. You got to have a coach that has ego. If you don't have a coach like a Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, even Belichick, you got to have a coach that has ego. Don Shula too. I don't think he. I wouldn't say he threw no game. I think the problem was no. They the next year he got hurt. I don't think there was no throwing. I think Burrow is a legit quarterback. I just think that their line sucks. They don't invest on offensive line. Their defense is soft. The head coach is in over his head. And when Belichick was available, I said that would be the best place for him to go. They got big time receivers. They are offensive juggernaut. It's just that they don't, execute. I didn't look at it as no fix. I didn't. I like Burrow, but we can disagree on Burrow. That's not no biggie. I think when he's healthy. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the AFC. But I mean, I understand that people ain't feeling him. They all on borrowed time because if you get hit one good time, you done. Shoot, how many of these turkeys you think gonna fool around and have a Baker Mayfield get to play for 15 different teams and get it together? Or have a Geno Smith where I play 30 years, I can throw 30 interceptions, and then I can morph into a Jameson Winston. I mean, think about it. I'm just saying, you know. But I think Burrow is legit. Just that he got the wrong head coach and they got the wrong situation. I like Burrow. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not gonna lose no sleep about it, but I'm tired of cake. We'll talk about Al Green. Baker Mayfield, you know what he didn't turn? You know what he didn't turn to? Al Green in a blowout. And I like Lou Rawls, but Al Green in a blowout. Let me tell you, Baker. Yesterday it dawned on me, who is his hero? It's got to be Tony Romo. He didn't actually morph into a low budget broke Tony Romo. Cause what he do? Puts up nice pretty stats, and then he finds a way to choke and stank a game. So I'm like, that's who you're gonna aspire. Well, he's credible now. Not only that, you lost. You're not in the MVP discussion when Carolina didn't caught your butt. How the heck did Bryce Young come along and they're basically neck and neck? Who sees Carolina? That should tell you. And they got to go play the Rams next week, talking about Tampa. So good luck with that. He's what we thought he was. He's basically Kirk Cousins' is half brother. You know. Third tier quarterback who manipulates to looking like a first, and at best he's a second. And that's what then happened. And that's what we are. Welcome to the NFL today with quarterbacks. That's it in a nutshell. And he get to play for 16 different teams, and he's average as all get out. Yeah, if you put 30 points up and you run 200 yards against a team and you get turnovers and you still lose by 10, you suck. Thank you. I agree. And hopefully they won't still be panhandling for him after what happened yesterday. Al Green in the blog, because Al Green had the. I like Lou Rawls, but Al Green is like, there's tears to this. Al Green is a whole nother section. And I like Lou, but it's a whole nother section to it. You know. So that's how I look at it. Al was just it just hit. It was nice. Excuse me. It was nice, but Al Green's another level. Cake or trash for you. Nah, but anyway, no, I like that we get into some football discussion, TSP, because I didn't know that's how you feel about Burrow. I do like. I tell you one thing: a Burrow play with Tampa Bay, they'd be at worst third seed in the NFC. I tell you that. Todd Bowles is a really good coach. If he can get Baker to be over 500, I'm impressed. I really am. Cause man, look at what you stuck with. Mm. Um, for me, it's an interesting question. Climax played instruments, and I like George Fenderella Irby, and I respected Bernard Cooper. I gotta go with the Mary Jane Girls. They had better songs. I did like "I Miss You" though. That sounded like Michael though when the Climax did that. But Mary Jane Girls had better songs though. In My House pretty much stomps a mud hole through most of Climax's songs because it was so well written. Yeah. Oh, I ain't got no problem with you being on his neck, but I also say give him a better head coach and give him some defense in the line. That's all I said. I'm not arguing with you about that part, but he needs a better offensive line. They need some better defense, and he needs a head coach who knows how to, like I keep saying, you got to know how to coach ego. That's why I see wrong with the Bills. You got to know how to coach ego. Belichick knew how to do it with Brady. Phil Jackson knew how to do it with Shaq and Kobe and Jordan and Pip, and Rodman. And then you got Pat Riley. You got to have a guy who knows how to coach ego. How do you coach ego? You win the chip together. You see guys have kind of a vernacular way they connect. I don't think Burrows had the best coach, and I think that's one of the things that's holding him back. That's my personal opinion. But I do agree he got to stay healthy and put up. But, you know, he got to do it. Josh Allen's got to do it. Lamar's got to do it. They all under the clock. Justin Herbert's got to do it. They all on the clock. Because under the clock means you ain't going to get but so many more chances. You know that eventually they're going to have Kansas City fit and ready, and then Lamar can go into a groove. They got to do something with him. What was his totals? 9 times 0 is what? Thank you. Come on, man. If we played in basketball like back in the day, a team would have put whoever he was guarding. What's happening? How you doing? Good to see you. CWS. Um, Back in the day, they'd have just threw the ball into whoever he was guarding and just got his butt in trouble. But today, because everybody shoots threes, they don't expose him though. Wow. They just trying to prepare him for the G League because if they got rid of his daddy. But did you hear the latest about the Lakers? About the whole phone scandal? That's a big thing. I got a feeling there's a lot going on with stuff. So I think they are in trouble because I think they got to win out. And then the problem is they lost to Buffalo, they lost to the Chargers, they've lost to Denver. So then you start to kind of juggle around like who have you not lost to? And they're gonna have to pretty much win out and get some help. I think that TSP is right there. Will get in, but they're gonna be on the lower end of the stick. Yeah, they probably get in with a 6 loss. I don't think we'll ever get the totality, but I'll say this: this thing and Epstein files makes you think the world is coming to an end as you know it. Because the reason why I say that, because all the mob names, When I heard that whole thing, when they mentioned the Genovese, they mentioned the four families, I thought, wow, I hadn't heard them names in like 35 years, okay? So I know this thing is deeper. Then I went to every Michael Francesi video I could find to get his take and Tim Donahoe. It's the only two people I want to hear talking about it. 7-3 Bears. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, Steve. The Bears are a dangerous team because Caleb knows how to win. They make it more head scratching to the chin, 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 but they know how to win. Um, they gonna make the playoffs. They could be a problem. Could be a problem. You know, they outplayed Minnesota. Minnesota's done. Oh yeah, there's something that's going on. It's definitely deeper. It's definitely deeper. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I think what you're gonna find out is like, TV wrestling that applies to everything. Hmm. And if they could make that, they can make anything look suspect. They sell you on the show. Hmm. So, all right now. Nagy was okay, but then they just kind of fell off. But um, yeah, you just gotta know how to coach ego and be a balance. It's kind of like Dan Campbell with Detroit. Jared Goff been very fortunate to have the right balance of coaches. And see, that's why I was trying to tell TSP. You gotta have the right coach in your system. It's to qualify your talent level. Can make wonders for what goes on. That's why Matthew Stafford's been very successful, you know, with you know, Tampa Bay coach because it makes all the difference. Caleb is playing poise. He's not doing too much. Well, listen, in case you don't know, you see my cap. We used to have Dick Duran as a head coach, and he sucked. And all he said, it's okay to punt. Had to deal with that turkey. Oh God, he was horrible. He must got some video on somebody. I don't know how he keeps getting a job. He sucked. They got some of them guys that, yeah, he just, I don't know, he was doing his best Tom Coughlin impersonation, which didn't really move at all. No, Caleb, what happened was they doing what they didn't do last year. When they lost that game to Washington on that tip because dude was up there showboating, they won that this year. They're winning close games. What you're seeing is what you're seeing. I hate to say this because I don't want to be right, but wouldn't it be something if the Bears in Denver made it to the Super Bowl? Because they win all these close games. They win all these ugly games, and they got all and they could, listen. If they want his toes to get painted, they'll paint his toes. I mean, Jerron, because Jerron had multiple gigs. At least with Eberfloss, he got a whack name, but you could get out think about it. But Dick Jerron is like that lasting fungus that never wouldn't go away. I don't think people care about him painting his nails no more than Joe Namath with the pantyhose or with the fur coats on. If you winning, hey, winning makes you look over anything, anybody's indulgences. Nobody's gonna trip about it. I know. I saw, and I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So a guy that I go to church with, I he grabbed me and I said, "Are you sure about this?" I said, "You know what happened on Saturday, right?" He had this look on his face. I said, "You know what happened, right?" I said, "But y'all gonna get the Fruit of the Loom Bowl. Y'all still get the Fruit of the Loom Bowl." You know, good and well, they was trying hard to fix Bama to get a bowl. Now Michigan is my team. We 8-2. We barely winning. We got one game next week, and then we got that Ohio State thing. But I don't have Michigan as a top 5 team. But I know they wanted Alabama deep. I already know. I know. The fix was on for Bama. People talk about the NFL fix. They don't see the Bama fix. The Bama fix is real. And then they lose a game like that. But don't be surprised if they still got them 6th or 7th when it's all said and done. As far as what? Iverson versus Kobe as far as what? Players? Or are you talking about cultural impact? If you're talking about as far as cultural impact, that's close. If you're talking about as far as players, it's Kobe. I never was a Notre Dame fan. Who told you that? I never was. Michigan been forever and a day. I never liked Notre Dame. Who told you that? I never said anything about Notre Dame. I may have said before that when I saw Joe Montana win, I was impressed what he did when he was college. I never been into Notre Dame. I like Tim Brown. I like guys who played there. But I never was in Notre Dame. Michigan been my team. I don't understand it. I've been a Michigan fan for a long time. Since Bo Schumacher and back when Desmond Howard was doing pop locking. I wouldn't have said that because what's up, Calvin? What's up? Glad to have you. I wouldn't say that because Iverson won game one. I wouldn't say that, but overall body work. Let me explain TSP. Well, she never had a solo career. He didn't have a solo career. Um, Let me tell you why. Because Duncan did more in terms of scoring points, rebounds. Um, Parker and Ginobili ain't James Worthy. They're not Kareem. Dave Robinson's not Kareem. Magic, I think it's not a diss. That's not like the worst thing. I think, listen, when I hold Magic in high regards, this is how I go. And I'll get some blowback. I got Steph Curry as my all time favorite point guard. And I might even have Oscar Robertson. But show me another player top 10 who could beat you with scoring less than 10 points, 5 points, and could fill up the stats more than Magic. Magic might be the GOAT from that because the way he could channel to change the game, I ain't seen nobody do it since. Jason Kidd had the 10-10-10, but I'm talking about a guy who could fund me in Rondo to an extent, but Magic was 101. So, but the Duncan thing, he was dominant. He was considered the baddest power forward. There really hasn't been a power forward that's come out after him that you could really make that conversation for, and he could beat you in different ways. Remember when Amari Stoudemire had that out of body? He ran. Tim Duncan was like it was like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and it was Brady because it was real cold and calculating and direct, and it was like Peyton Manning that he could audible off of what you did, but you couldn't beat him at what he did. So I can see why somebody might think that about that because stat wise and the way they dominated wise. But if you think about how Magic did, it was one. Only if Florence Ballard had more of a solo career, which she never did. I'm taking the well. That's not the first time the Broncos have had that tag. They had that tag when Tebow was their quarterback. This is a whole different thing than Tebow. At least with Tebow, he was throwing some fluky passes and they got lucky. This Bronco thing, Bo Nixon sucks. He's actually making Tebow look like Steve Young. I mean, he aside from playing Dallas, which everybody look good against, it's pretty bad. I'm taking Magic because he beat you in more ways. But if somebody came and said that Duncan was a better player for scoring and rebounding, I couldn't argue. Because I think you can make a case if it depends on what your logic is. But if you're asking me what Magic did better than he beat you fundamentally in more ways. Duncan could not have been Duncan if he don't score at least 10 or more points. Same thing with Curry. Um, for me, it's weak at the knees, but Don't Look Any Further is more iconic song. That's how I look at it. Mahalia, but Shirley Caesar's bad though. That's how he does best because Bo Nixon is yeah. Because he stinks most of the game. They find a way to win. I think that's the problem that works against Duncan. There's no he's all substance, yo. And he made a difference and impact, and he was textbook and style. Oh, he was my second favorite player after Shaq, early OOs. Cause I saw that hey, that's how good he was. And if you don't have either one of them in the way, that other cat is running things in the West for 6, 7 years in a row. That's how bad he was. Except he wasn't Shaq dominant, but he was enough to be he was a nuisance. I always respected Duncan. I love that bank shot from day one. And him and Dave Robinson, I mean, just fundamentally, when Shaq gave you a nickname and you lived up to it, that's one of the most ultimate compliments you can get. I can understand why people would say him over Magic because Shaq called him the big fundamental. What do we talk about we're missing more than anything in basketball today? Fundamentals. Could Tim Duncan come out right now with Wimby and be running things? Yes. Because he played within the system. He wasn't a dude that he beat you with that bank shot. He hit your 3-point play. He posted you up. Then he got rebounds. He got a couple steals. He got some blocks. He gave you deflections. He just played fundamentally right. They just were like a script for 20 years. I mean, he was an incredible talent. And I think a lot of him. So I do understand why somebody would say that. I do get it. You know, love Stacey Lassaw. And I love the Sukiyaki remake. I think I'll go with Sukiyaki because of the musical arrangements. George Duke's production. Because a lot of cats been so because of you. And that arrangement that satire was sweet. So I give it because of that. No, no, no. It was kind of like the Brad Darty. And that's who he put me in the frame of mind at first. I thought he was going to be like Brad Darty, a junior Whopper Darty. But Darty got hurt. And actually, people will tell you that Darty was a precursor to Duncan. And the way Dean Smith had him covered. No, you never. No. College was different back then. The guys you just didn't really even know. Jordan wasn't even the best player on Carolina with Sam Perkins and Worthy. I don't know about him being the best passer. I mean, he can pass. I don't know about that. I think that he's very talented offensive player. There's no arguments there. But I don't see where DeAndre Ayton may be the only one that'll benefit from him if it's meant to be. Reeves won't. Oh no, he's not it. No, and it take time. It take time. This football take time. Don't let Patrick Mahomes fool you. Everybody don't start their career off with 5 Super Bowl appearances. That's not normal. Time you got to take some time. Luca got a good handle. It takes time. You think he gonna morph into Brady overnight? I mean, you gotta read lines, you gotta read how teams are coming at you. Takes time. Takes time. There are a few exceptions to the rule, but a lot of times it takes a quarterback a good 3 or 4 years before they really get into their groove. And they gotta have the right head coach, they got the right system, they gotta have the right structure. It takes time. They've been playing an ugly way. What they do is they take you from your sweet spot. That's why it's ugly. They got up under I'm gonna take knock on wood because that thing was tight. What they do is they take you from your sweet spot. No other team can do what they do. They know how to make you. They take that thing that you do well, and then they make you into a half field type of team. They did that last week, and they did it again this week. I forgot who they beat last week, but when they did that this game with Detroit, they know how to ugly up your game, and they know how to get up under you enough where they nudge you. It's tough to do that. Yeah, I ain't heard that name in a long time. They had some fusion style. That's a long time ago when you say Fat Burger. That's a long time ago. Yeah, knock on wood was lethal. And you know, I did like the King Floyd, but it works. So methodically, Jalen Hurts, they do the tush push, they run, they chew up clock, they get you to try to make something happen, and you turn the ball over or you miss a field goal, and then you got and I play keep away. I think one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Oh, you trying to challenge my jazz head here. Miles Davis, but I will say this. Any man who can play guitar like that over the age of 45 and made himself a household name at 50 was something else. He was bad. And I loved his records with Jimmy Smith. But Miles Davis, um, I love them both. But Miles Davis had decades. He playing with Bird Parker, and then you create different sounds and sonics, and then you bring in different acts. It's not a fair comparison. Now, if you're asking me who would be considered the better player of their instrument, it's probably Wes, because Wes's tone on guitar. Miles would be choppy with his notes. It all depends. His trumpet playing was great in terms of what it did as far as compositional. But if you're going instrumentation wise, Wes is gonna get that argument though. Just saying. I think body of work is Miles though. He missed a lot of notes. He was very scattered. He was very scattered. And he did that on purpose sometimes. He would play and play pause, you know. And when he played angry, his trumpet go, he had to, you know. This is like if you ask me who played better pure trumpet, it'd be Clifford Brown, but he died too soon. He died soon. But Miles changed the course of music, and he had the bands and the structuring, and he had a lot of different things that he did. And he was incorporating different elements and tones, so he was on his own tangent. So I mean, if you want pitch perfect trumpet, you better go listen to Louis Armstrong and vocals to boot. That's a whole different argument, a different hit though. So Miles would even tell you that you couldn't get more pitch perfect than Louis Armstrong. He beat you both. Quincy Jones and Herbie played on everything. Was produced by Quincy too. Um, Herbie is one of those guys that's very talented. Probably had more talent than Quincy, but he didn't. It didn't translate to all everything he ended up doing. Quincy was involved in a lot of more hybrids of musicality. So yes, well, Lenny was bad. Lenny had that nasty left hand, great head coach, very charismatic. We used to call him Pimp to the back home, because his hair was like back there, and he had it all smooth, and we used to say Pimp to the back. That's what we used to call him. That was our nickname for Lenny. Remember he had that cigar in his mouth when he broke the record with Atlanta with Mookie Blaylock. I said, look at old Pimp to the Back. That's what we used to call Lenny. Lenny was cool, though. Lenny was a real one. Um, the instrument is Jimi Hendrix because the Guitar Hero alone would tell you Jimmy. You still got Cash still trying to come up with the note. The what he did with his own hands and his mind was incredible. I think Get Ready, but I like the riffs on Fire. But I think Get Ready had the drumming. Interesting, you asked me a drumming question. I like how you respect my ear. I'm gonna start Bill Russell, so that's a given because of what he did. I gotta bench Tim Duncan. I gotta cut Will Chamberlain. I guess I gotta go in that order. Duncan just kept on making himself a better player, and he had different levels of players he played with, just like Russell did. Chamberlain's greatness, as great as he was individually, but he had when he had great teams, he won. He had two of the greatest teams ever, so he won. But Russell and Duncan fundamentally to me understood how to play with what they had, and they just and that's where it goes from there. If we're talking about individualized Chamberlain, and then you gotta pretty much cut both of them. But if I had to go base that, I gotta keep Bill Russell on my team at all costs. He's just too impactful. So yeah, Hendrix would be more iconic though. Cause Miles, I liked it, but when we talk guitar, you still hear people talk about Hendrix. I'm starting Jerry West. I'm benching Stockton. I have to cut Pistol Pete. Why Pistol Pete gets cut? It's simple. He was a great player, but his NBA career was nothing like his college career. And where he played, I don't know how that would have flourished with either of those situations. And a lot of stuff, again, that kind of talent. Skill wise, him and Jerry West would have been like 1 and 1A, skill wise. Stockton was thrifty, but he wasn't as skilled as those two. West had incredible shot, and Pistol Pete had crazy handle. So, but I think Pistol Pete gets cut out them three. Stockton also could have played like 30 years, and Jerry West could flat out play. I'll say I want my girl because I like how he took. Um, Jesse took that. Basically, if you say it was your purpleness in love, I'm falling. Ooh, he did that little part in "I Want My Girl" towards the end. That was from Prince's "In Love" from the first album. See if you picked it up. Sadly, there's some clearance. Except his father was also pimping him. But he was a better player than Caitlin in college basketball. There was no 3-point line. So, but he was, and he was also more entertaining too. He had crazy handles. Oh shucks, he would run circles around Trey Young. And he white too. People lose their mind. Yeah, it's just that um he played for teams that didn't have no appeal, and he didn't have the depth, and he didn't have the other factors. And he also, again, they weren't all about street ball. See, and he had a lot of things work against him. But he would be scary today, though. He was scary when he played. His handles, it's just that. Oh God, do I really have to talk about Alicia Keys and John Legend? Can I take a pass on it? Because they like the male and female version of each other. Yep. I'm with Nita Baker. Yeah, I remember when I first heard I Want My Girl. And I heard that chorus go, "Ooh," and I said, "Oh, where did I hear that from?" But then again, they used to be roommates and they hung out, so I'm taking Anita. Not really, because Legends got a better catalog. If I really had to pick out the two, Alicia Keys ain't mattered since 2009, since Girl on Fire. Legend is boring as all get out, but he got a couple songs. She doesn't really hit like that. Yeah. They know, and I hate picking them either one of them because they both boring me. They both put me to sleep. But if I had to, I got to give it to John Legend. If she had the game, she'd be running the female section. She'd be running between Beyonce and Lady Gaga, and she can't. Only thing I liked that he ever did was Green Light with Andre. That was it, and he was putting me to sleep. And the hook he did on with Kanye when they worked with Slum Village, because his hook work I like. Just his bass, church singing. Glenn Lewis for me, but John Legend had the bigger career though. Don't mention John Legend to me because I mean, I'll pick anybody over him because I think he's one of the most boring, bland acts ever. But he's had a successful career. Depends on what your criteria is. If you're going by the stats, he's beaten a lot of folks. If you go by the music, I'm taking them regardless, pretty much. So what we got here? We got 50%. We still stuck at 50%. People think Kansas City might. I like that. Pop Pop goes my mind. I like You Send Me Swinging because I like my condition, but Pop Pop goes my mind. That was like standard for their, you know. I listened to Mint more, but Levert had a bigger hit though. That was a bigger hit. Except no high notes come out of him. Him and his wife are annoying as all get out. He boring. He makes that music. Grandma's hand in a blowout. And I like George Benson, but when he tried to do the Al Jarreau working with Jay Grandin and that Foster LA Smooth, and when Cashapp doing that kind of stuff, that sounds like some grandpa. Don't you turn me down. And I never knew what turn your love around means. Woman or man. I didn't understand the lyrics. It was a very fluid song. My cousin felt that way too. Grandma's Hand is a classic. As far as what? Music artists? Or are you talking about what are you talking about? Duke versus Benson as far as what? Because it depends on what you're getting at. If you're talking about as artists, George Duke. Producer. You mean the guy played with Frank Zappa? Reach for It was funky. George Benson, even though Give Me the Night was go, Duke got him beat on the funk. He produced him probably. He had his own solo career. Brazilian Love Affair. I mean, Duke, or Let's Hear It for the Boy, he produced pop stuff. I love Give Me the Night, but again, that's when he worked with Quincy and he had Rod Templeton. But then he did all that slurpy stuff after, which I love his musicality. Yes, Nicholas Payton is super slept on. I used to listen to him when the same time I was listening to Russell Gunn and when I was listening to Real Hardgrove and those cats. He don't get the same love, yeah. Well, it's the time period we're in. I think because Stanley Clark done so many what I call soundtracks, and also he isn't romantic. Well, his ego kind of got in the way too. He turned some people off, but also when you do bass the way he plays, he's not putting himself in a foyer where he's grooving per se. So you know. So you gotta be real head to appreciate him. Good call. I ain't heard that. No one talks about Nicholas Payton in ages. Good call. I'm going to say Bill Bailey, but it's close. Like them both. No, I think with Benson against Duke is that George Duke didn't cover more ground musically. If you're asking me albums to albums, is Benson. But if you're asking me, um, I got to start Paul Hardcastle, and then I got to sit Norman Brown down, and Brian is last. So, because I like Norman Brown's guitar tone, Hardcastle has some of Hardcastle. You know what we would have loved back in the day? Paul Hardcastle with Art of Noise. That would have been the best of both worlds. Think about what he did and then put that with Art of Noise. That would have been some angelic music. Oh, if we could have had a mixture of those two. And Norman Brown with Grover Washington Jr. or with somebody that was smooth out would have been sick. So yeah. Love to love you. Cause to do that for 18 minutes, that thing had pulse to it. You gotta give me two songs. I can't tell you which one that is. I think Electric Slide, especially if it's in the neighborhood. I like Norman's tone though. And I think that Norman's tone is what moves me. But either way, neither one of them will move me like Paul Hardcastle. I mean, because Paul got them both beat for my money. But when I think about him, I almost think about the Art of Noise stuff and how he kind of like engaged in both those circles. Well, when I think about catalog, I think about what I hear this, you got these pieces that people all know and love or something like that. Bob James, come on now. Listen, just because I give Paul Hardcastle some love, let's not get ridiculous now. Can you take Bob James off of hip hop? Not saying anything. Not saying a word. It's all preference. Bob James is gonna spank. Bob James is spanking that. 'Cause they put all the stuff that Bob James stuff got sampled with. It's crazy. Okay. By the way, let's let people know I will be back on tomorrow. That's the plan. Back on tomorrow. And possibly Wednesday. Then after that, it won't be till next Sunday. So the next 2 days for sure. No. No, he a double junior. He's a double broke Junior Whopper version of Kenny G. You can put him and Kenny G and oh god, Bob Dave Cars together, same person. I'm gonna put close to the edit, but Kraftwerk was bad though. Um, yeah, it's tough. That's tough. Um, I think Harden had a case at a better playing career, so I have to say Russell, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Harden had some people thinking he belonged with Jordan, Kobe, and D Wade with that, his scoring, and he should have had. If you put them at everything's being equal, what Harden would be considered a better player. Westbrook wouldn't be considered. They would put Harden as a top 5 or 6 shooting guard before they put Russell in top 10. So there you go. Depends on who your top tens are. I heard of Marcus Hill. I've heard of him. I'll listen, but I heard the name. Depends on who your top 10 shooting guards are. Because after you get through Clyde Drexler, Jerry West, depends on who you got. I'll check him out. Ooh, you went heavy, heavy. Ooh. Because that's the way the world is like an anthem to me. So that's the reason. But Zoom is one of them songs that, hey, if it was anything but Earth Winds, that's the way They probably would win the argument. But it's close though. That's a heavy song. That's a heavy song because the Commodores was bringing it. You know, Fing Su. Fing Su. Why does it name so? Why am I not thinking correctly right about now? I want to know where I seen Fing Su at, and I gotta get my brain back. You're gonna have to hit me up on that one. Yeah, because constipated white singing ain't got nothing to do with what Bobby Caldwell did. There's always been those. There was Joe Cocker, who Michael Bolton ain't seen a test. That's nothing new. Mission to Please. I never really cared for a lot of Gerald's solo career. Some of it was okay. Okay. I'm tired of that. Well, you by your lonesome. That guy's one of the 15 greatest players I ever seen. Come on now. Back to back MVP, three straight MVPs. Joining Frank Robinson, ALNL. Barry Bonds with four MVPs. Did I throw in pitches? Did I throw in that? No. There's no comparison between Bolton and Bobby Caldwell. Michael Bolton is more closer to Joe Cocker. But I said a constipated white male singing voice. Bobby Caldwell was more smoother. There's a big difference between the two. Caldwell was like a more R&B version of what Bobby Darin was doing. Well, let me tell you why they saying go talk. You got a guy that's got rings, which you play the game to win. So he's coming up postseason, regular season. And you just mad because he beat Toronto. Just call it what it is. I understand. Beat your hometown team. And if y'all had him, I wouldn't shut you up about him. I understand. No, I haven't seen anything like Shohei Ohtani. The fact that when you can mention him in the conversation shows that he's had impact. And when you're polarizing, when you're polarizing, that means you're doing it the right way. Ajay Wilson a blowout. Kalen Clark can't carry Ajay Wilson's middle initial. He's not finished. It's just the industry may be finished as far as putting new money on him. That's all. Oh, you need to come up with the material. It's just that he has to figure out where he needs to fit. He ain't meant to be doing diss tracks. That's never gonna end well. And you gotta come up with something that people want to hear. He came up big. And he's got two rings, and he's got Magic talking about him. I mean, people are hoping him up. Magic called him in and put in the conversation. Mookie Betts put him in the conversation. So, you know, Shohei is in a unique situation. And they built to beat him. That's what the Mets were trying to do. That's what the Padres been trying to do. And he comes along and he fits in. And he's put up historic numbers. He's the first Dodger to hit 50 home runs back-to-back years, two straight league MVPs, two straight World Series championships. I mean, that's a career. He's got the kind of career that Mahomes has got. In the sense that if he retired today, tomorrow, he getting his jacket, and then you can debate where you rank him. So it's hard to argue against a guy that's had that kind of success. I ain't gonna say all that, but I'll say this: they are a dynasty. Dave Roberts got 3 rings in the last 5 years. They are a dynasty. I ain't gonna say the greatest ever, but if they get about 4 rings with Dave Robinson or Ohtani, it'll be hard to argue against them. Just so they got something special there. I think Dave Roberts is the best man. But I said this already. He belongs on that Phil Jackson, Pat Riley in LA. Did y'all struggle? Yeah, we struggle. We can't stop the run. And if Baker Mayfield doesn't do a Tony Romo impersonation, we may not win the game. He threw that bad pick. Just stop. Stop. Far as what, Charlene? If you're talking about acting, Marlon Brown, no one talk. Dean Martin was a great singer, but Dean Martin did what he did best versus what Marlon Brown did best. It's not even close. They had connection, but Marlon in the blowout. Gigolos get lonely too. Come on now. I like Lonely Girl on Bourbon Street. It has a nice coda that fades out, but Gigolos get lonely too. Come on now. That's not up for discussion. Brando in a blowout. And I like Dean Martin. Dean Martin is a lot like Scottie Pippen, one of the ultimate sidekick dudes. And he had some moments, but you know who people came to see. Think it. And I like, I like Dean Martin, but Brando was on a, especially anywhere from On the Waterfront to Godfather One and Tango in Paris. Dean wasn't seeing that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah. Okay. Keep on hitting that like up. Poe's doing really good this season. Iconic. Rank them in order. Sinatra would be. Then I'd say Ray Charles. Then I say James Brown. Then I say Elvis. Then I say Cash. Sinatra, because he had a huge iconic presence. Ray Charles did everything musically. You could have put James Brown impact and then Elvis, and that's how it's said. I gotta say Dean and Jerry because it lasts longer. Streisand by default. Cause she had iconic songs. Excuse me. I do like Shirley Bassey though. Yeah, that's how I'd say more iconic by ranking. I think Sinatra and Charles and then Ray, and then James, and then Elvis. I listen to more James Brown more than anybody of that list, and Sinatra, James and Sinatra, and then Ray. He did. He did. He did. So did Pat Boone. Hmm. So, well, Sammy Davis Jr. And I do like Frankie Lyman a lot, but Sammy Davis Jr. was a game changer. I had to put Sinatra because of the pop icon aspect. And he was more versatile than James Brown, style wise. James changed the course of music with the groove, but Sinatra was like, I mean, you know, do I really have to do this with them three? I mean, old Bobby Brown would be my starter. And then I would probably, if I could Bobby in his peak in his prime, he's starting. Benching Usher, and then I cut C Breezy. But that's not a cool list unless, and if it was peaked out for peak to peak, Bobby's first. I'm taking Sign the Family Stone for songwriting. Impact, I gotta say Sign the Family Stone. Funkadelics was bad, and musicianship they got, but but if I'm going to total package, Sliding the Family Stone. So I like Sliding, like I said, Sliding the Family Stone changed the course of the game. I'm taking Sliding the Family Stone. But Funkadelic funk and then their instrumentations is another level. They could play with anybody. Probably the most talented band as far as band goes. Now, when we get to songwriting and production, other stuff, that's where P Funk isn't touching that. Sly wrote songs that last for days. He just, you know. Uh, Tevin Campbell's a better singer and got better songs. And if you talk to people of a certain age and a certain time period, they're gonna look at you crazy. Because what does Chris Brown do better than? What has he done better than Tevin Campbell? He's lasted longer, but he ain't got the songs. Uh, Can We Talk is bigger than Chris Brown's catalog. The only thing Breezy's got is he had a longer career, but he doesn't have the talent or the fortitude to mess with Tevin Campbell. That's not. He's a dancer. I'll give you that. He hasn't surpassed a guy like Tevin Campbell. It's not close. Come on, Charlene. That's not even funny. Does he have Can We Talk? Do you realize Can We Talk is 30 plus years old and it still gets played like it came out last Tuesday? Smash is nothing. Breezy ain't got nothing seeing Tevin Campbell. You got one guy who's had hits. He came out and he worked with Quincy Jones. Tomorrow Better You. What has he done? Come on now, it's Kendrick. Come on now. 50 got a better business acumen. Thank you, Charlene. But it's not up for discussion. And Kendrick is also able to have flourish with a career later on, unlike 50. But 50 is a smarter business dude. Give you that. That's about it. hmm Well, that's nice about that, but I ain't trying to dignify that. That's not bias, it's facts. When he got a Can We Talk, I like Fine Like China. Most of them are, Charlene. Most of them are. The industry's about fixes and themes, so most of them are. There's a lot of voodoo goes on that industry. I'm not gonna tell nobody no lies. The industry does have a lot of witchcraft. So I'm gonna be on for about another 7 more minutes because I've been over an hour and a half. I'll do like 7 more minutes. Mm, mm. Second time around. Even though Sexy Thing is more iconic, but I like listening second time around more. Twilight Zone. You asked me that yesterday about Beyonce and Tiana Taylor. Ain't nothing changed. No. So I'll give Beyonce a slight edge with that. Oh, Love on Top of Love. But I don't have that many. Her catalog doesn't do much for me. I'm not big on most of her songs. I think most of her stuff is just it lacks depth. You know, I think Crazy in Love might still be her best song, from my honest opinion. And I liked the one Dark Child did on that first record. Can't think of it right now. But that's it though. I just never been into her as a solo artist. Mm. So that's probably it, Love on Top of Love. But Crazy in Love is probably my favorite. But I'm not really, again, I don't really think much of her songs. I just think they're pretty ordinary. And, I just think that she just real slick. Candyman and the Blowout. Come on now. Ding, ding. Drive Me Wild seems like Prince and Jazz Dickerson must have been listening to Joe Jackson's Stepping Out. Corny. Candyman had a groove to it. Oh, Crazy in Love hit bigger, but I like Real Love. Real Love was a better song though. See, if Beyonce had Mary's catalog, then all the Beehive would be stinging. That's what's missing. You give Mary Crazy in Love, she turns it out. Mary knew how to turn songs out. Mary didn't have Beyonce's talent, but she just moved you more. Real Love's a really good song because I heard some chick who sounded like Sheryl Crow did a remake of it and it sounded good, you know. So, of course, Crazy in Love did because Crazy in Love, when it came out, she had the booty dance. And I remember Warren Sapp, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was doing the end zone. So, it was bigger, but Real Love was more, it still sounds good. Yeah, that's what Beyonce ain't got. I hate to say it. She does all that old gymnastic singing, but she just doesn't hit you with the grit. Mary got the kind of catalog that if Beyonce had one or two of them songs, we may have a different discussion. You know? Yeah, Mary definitely has soul. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's a good one. Cause Kelly Price got a lot of what you call iconic side songs and vibes. And I like her stuff. I mean, I like it when she worked with the Isleys and stuff like that. I think she got more out of her career than Jill Scott. I think Jill Scott had the better talent, but I think Kelly Price actually got more out of her career. So that's how I would say it. I think Jill got the skills, but I think Kelly Price got more out of her career. Eyes Without a Face. Modern Love, it works good for what he's doing. Dun, dun, dun. But Eyes Without a Face had that cold synthesizer, then that Steve Stevens guitar riffs. Idol was in the zone with that. So that's how I look at it. Eyes Without a Face was my cut. Eyes Without a Face. I hope the Jill Scott Kelly Price thing makes sense because it's kind of hard to explain, but that's the best way I can. Jill's got the better skill set, but Kelly Price just did things that because once pretty much with Jill Scott, it's the first album and some songs. Kelly Price just was doing different things that just kind of hit. So, but I don't like neither one of them though because they both be talking crazy. So I don't mess with neither one of them though. So see. Our house. We used to sing that all the time. I give it the madness on that. Please keep on hitting the likes up. The poll is going good, even though it's frozen, but 50%. It's one of the few times I didn't see a lot of poll and it's dead even. Yeah, I gotta give it the madness on that one. And Billy Idol on that too. Okay. All right. NDRE. Thank you. Appreciate that. Cause uh brown skin was the roots ain't never had nothing. They said you got me. They don't have anything that moves me like that. And you know I don't like the roots. I like Black Thought. I think Black Thought can spit, but again, it Questlove dominates all that. And I just they're very jarring band. So thank you for that like. Actually, I might crack 10 of them before I yeah. I've been on, like I said, I was gonna be on for longer today, so I've almost done 2 hours today. I'll probably do a long one tomorrow and a Wednesday. And I'm not gonna be here on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, so I'll come back on a Sunday. So if I did a live stream yesterday, and I'm doing one today, and I'm gonna get so I'll give you about 3 or 4 live streams. That should hold it down for a while. I'll do next Sunday. So if I see enough buzz, I'll do more than 1 or 2 streams. If I see enough, if not, I'll just mhm. So that's what's up with that. Now I'm not big on the and then NDRE, she's married now. Liked her back to a bit. Hmm. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'll do just under 99 lift balloons because that beat was sick, and you know it. Dun, dun, you know, back in 90, the 80 40 here, Nina 99 anything with 99 was tight. Just like Toto's 99 song. Somebody, if you put 99 in a song, it was smoking. And I like Falco too. So yeah, 99 balloons. All right, I think I'll do 6 more minutes and then I'm gonna call it a day because that'll be just short of 2 hours. So I got 6 more minutes. So whatever we get in the next 6 minutes, that's going to be all she wrote. I am working on some videos and some projects for futures. Appreciate some great questions and stuff, but and I talked about week 11 football. So I got videos and stuff. Of course, if anybody who watched the videos, you can see them and they stream in different places and spread the word. If you like the channel and everything, feel free. If you'll donate, there will be more tiers. There's more videos when I start getting the donations because that's a whole nother story. So stuff is in store. And also um, hit that like, hit that, and also, everything like that. So just putting it out there. But yeah, we'll definitely be today and next 2 days after today. So I'm doing pushing for near 2 hours every, as long as people show up. Great questions today. Great response. Um, Not full capacity though. Don't go. I could have sworn we did this one before. I gotta go with Don't Go. Love the drums on that track. I love Week's chorus, but Don't Go was like such a live track song in R&B, which you don't hear it often and just hit. Because originally I found out Don't Go was originally for Aerosmith. So it makes sense why it had that big guitar, big drum, clean sound in that chorus. I do too, but if I had to pick, I'd give it to In Vogue. But I do too. Because I will listen a week. Puts me in a good mood. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. Aerosmith. And it makes sense too. Because if you listen to the drums and the instrumentation, it doesn't. And again, R&B records don't get that kind of sound. So it was originally, you can almost tell the way it was played. It was played like a live groove. There's a big difference between Free Your Mind and Don't Let Go in terms of tone. Just the beginning. Okay, so that's how it goes. Okay, so we got a couple more minutes. I've been on here quite a bit and did almost 2 hours a day. So the video will be live, will be on, and for people who want to, comment, feel free. Her so good. If this was about 34 years ago, Brian Adams, I might have made it closer, but he was not in the league with John Cougar, but it was catchy. But John Cougar just made songs that you had to think. So, John Cougar. I used to like Brian Adams a bit back in the day, but that stuff got corny. I did like that disco song he had out in '79 though. That was a bumper. And I did like Heaven. Run to You had a certain energy. I mean, he was kind of like, you're made for TV, wanna be rebel. It was funny. He had a few songs, but I don't listen to Brian Adams no more. But Run to You was nice. Hmm. All right, we're going into the home stretch. So, anyway, appreciate everybody that came through today. Thank you so much. Before I go, I'll take the knack because my Sharona still bops for me. Still like that bop. And inspired beat it too, by the way. Yep. Ma, 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 ma. Mm, 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 mm. Catchy chorus, groove. Hmm. So anyway, we're gonna call it a day though. Appreciate everyone that came through. I will be back tomorrow. And stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Can continue to watch the show and everything because this won't be up online and everything like that. And keep hitting likes, hitting polls, and if you want to donate, fine. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on various forums. I can be basically Facebook. That's where Charlene sees me in different places. So if you need to get in touch, come on back. Appreciate you. And great to see you too, Calvin. Best to you. Hope you're doing well, man. Prayers and thoughts are with you. To everybody, until next time, we be out. Peace and the best. I'm out.